Hi guys, welcome back to this is episode 28 of 343. I'm your host AF, and today I'm joined by my co-host Riyaz Parker, Jason Ronnie, and Wasim Ibrahim. You guys good? Good to have you back on the show?
Good.
Yeah, good man. Good to be back.
Yeah, Jason's just smiling because he got away with those 3 points.
Got away with? What do you mean?
Thank you, Riyaz. I was gonna leave him because his team scraped a win at Everton, but it's fine. Let's not just say
We saw the
away
game
with.
out there. It was good management at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were some really good games this weekend, some entertaining football, some dodgy VAR calls, if you can put it like that. No. There was a Champions League game last night with the Man City game. The refereeing was quite good. VAR was actually used quite well in that game, so that was a breath of fresh air. But
in the Chelsea game,
I didn't actually see what happened in that game, to be honest.
Yeah, so it was for that penalty that they got, but Tamori gets Mason Mount gets on the inside of him, and he just like puts an arm on his shoulder, just in the box, and okay, fair penalty because he like pulls him down a bit, but then some red card as well, like some double jeopardy, and it really wasn't even like he hurt the player at all. He just I don't know. I just felt it was a bit soft. And VAR checked it a few times, and they're like, "No, okay, let's just stay with that one." I think. So yeah.
Yeah, dodgy.
VAR's had a few up and down games. I'm sure Liverpool fans can probably agree with that.
Yeah, now staying on that, with the Arsenal Liverpool game over the weekend, there was some dodgy calls, and like the kids is not here to talk about her viewpoint, but Jason, you can just run us through like what from that match and how the
Nah, for sure, man. Look, obviously, it's one of those games that historically Arsenal haven't been doing well, even at home. Liverpool have come, and I think it's the highest scoring fixture in Premier League history. So there's always bound to be goals. And I'm just happy that for once we actually managed to come up on like with a positive result. I would have been happy with a draw even going into the game, because Liverpool, despite being wounded, are always a very dangerous team to play against. So yeah, I actually missed the start of the game and most of the game, but from what I've seen, highlights wise, and what I've read up, okay, obviously you can't take all your opinions from Twitter and stuff. It seemed like we were pretty comprehensive. I saw that penalty, and yeah, it was very soft. I'm just glad that it's finally going for us and not against us. Arsenal's had a few of those in recent times where it's infuriating actually when it's given against your team. So I fully understand what Liverpool fans go through. And then there was obviously that I think it was the penalty shout on Gabriel, which actually, looking at it again, if you really super slow it, I think they actually got that one right, because it does knock off his chest first onto his arm. But I think what it showed once again, is that this VAR thing is just overcomplicating things, man. Even I think Martinelli's goal, there were talks now that Saka was out of the view of all the 5 cameras.
Yeah,
that
how on
are
earth?
offside. Like, that's probably a Mikel Arteta masterclass again. But how is it possible that the guy is positioned and nobody can see? And it was going to be marginal because they were going to use his heel, and I think it was Matip's elbow. But yeah, it shows once again that the system is not working, and just they seem to be overcomplicating things. So yeah, I think, like I said, good win to get, very good, especially since City put that pressure. I think it was the first time really that they now they actually played before us, went above us, and then everything fell onto us to actually do what we need to do. So yeah, it was good weekend.
Just seemed like there's so many cracks, or I wouldn't say so many, but there are a few cracks in that Liverpool team that, like the fear factor of Liverpool isn't there anymore. Like, teams will come up against them and will think, okay, we actually have a bit of a chance this time, compared to like previous seasons where, like, I mean, you'd see the front three of like Salah, Mane, and Firmino, and like Virgil van Dijk at the back, and like people start like, you start to get scared, that fear factor. Whereas this season, like Van Dijk has been very, very much off the pace. Salah looks a shadow of his former self. I don't know how much of that is the fact that like Sadio Mane isn't at Liverpool anymore. Was he this like jigsaw piece that like made the team gel together? I don't know. Like, Wasim, what are your views on the current Liverpool team?
Yeah, I think with Liverpool, there's a lot of small things that's just going wrong at the moment, as you said. You can't really pinpoint it down to one thing, but it's a combination of things, and like it just, I think when I thought about it earlier, I came up with a few things that is the reason. As you mentioned already, Mane leaving, Van Dijk being off form, Trent, Alexander-Arnold. I think with his situation, he's a little bit out of form, but it's also the fact that there's a World Cup coming, and he's sort of out of the reckoning for England because of Trippier and James and others. So I don't know if that's mentally affected him, and that's in turn affected his game at Liverpool. But it just seems that there's a lot of things that's gone on. But I think another thing that's also gone wrong for them is their midfield is a year older. So guys like Milner and Henderson, who could do a job, for big games and they'd be okay. All of a sudden now they're not controlling things as they used to. And that in turn means that Salah is not as effective because he's getting the ball when there's perhaps two guys on him already, or he's getting the ball, with the whole backline already in place. So it's a bit tricky because he's always dangerous when they're on the break, counter-attacking. So it's just like a combination of things, and knock-on effect that one thing is affecting something else, which is affecting something else. And ultimately, football also is about momentum, and they don't have that at the moment. So I think it's something that probably is going to change at some point. We expect it to change. They can't be this get these sort of results the whole season because they're just too good of a team to do that. But at some point, when is it going to happen? We're already in October and it hasn't clicked. So we're already 2 to 3 months into the season and it hasn't happened. So I don't know when it's going to happen for them. But I think Klopp has got probably his biggest issue to deal with in the last few years, and we'll see what he's made up of as he goes into this next few months.
Yeah, there is also that 7th season Klopp syndrome, where he normally gets sacked in his 7th season. I think it was at Mainz and then at Dortmund, and this is his 7th season at Liverpool. So I'm not one for superstitions, but it could be that. You never know. Then there's also the fact that they gave Jordan Henderson that bumper contract when they shouldn't have, clearly.
And Salah's one as well.
Yeah, but I think the Salah one was just them like trying to hold on to their prized asset. Whereas Jordan Henderson, I mean, what's he, 32 now? 33?
Could be.
Yeah, and I mean, they gave him a bumper contract. I don't think that was a wise move. And I feel like Nikita would be 100% agreeing with me if she were here.
They need him though. Like they still need Jordan because of his leadership. Like without him, the team would, I think, completely fall apart.
But not to start every game though.
No, of course not. Of course not. But still, the leadership is like a big thing that they really need, especially in a time like this where they are struggling so much. I think they need him like a lot.
Isn't that what Virgil van Dijk is supposed to bring to the table though?
Which he's also not doing at the back for the backline at the moment, because the backline is falling apart. So it's really weird to see that neither of them are being able to take them out of their lap. But we'll see how it goes. Like Wasim said, it can't be the whole season. It has to turn around sometime. They're too good to let this happen to them the whole season. So we'll see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Speaking about that, they have Man City this weekend. I think that's on Sunday. City just keeps on hitting new heights, man. Like, I mean, Haaland he seems like a guy that's going to try to break his own record whenever he sets one. And I mean, that's scary for any opponent. And then you have Liverpool on the other hand that's getting the news of all these injuries that they have. So it's going to be a tough task for Liverpool, I think, to get anything from this game. But I mean, like Liverpool are also teams for a team for the big occasions. So, Riyaz, how do you think this one will play out from a Manchester City point of view?
Well, as opposed to the last couple of seasons, I think that this fixture is now they are more the favourites, whereas previously it's been more 50-50 game. And that's just because of how Liverpool started the season. But City are actually unstoppable. Like Arsenal on top of the log, yes, they're playing really well, but City are still, if not more, the juggernaut that they were in the past couple of seasons. I mean, 100 points is on the table without a doubt. They have a ridiculous striker, which he doesn't look to be stop scoring anytime soon. He's going to score. I literally watch a game. I watch a City game and I'm like, okay, when is this guy going to score? When is he going to score? And then he scores, and it's ridiculous. And not just that, Kevin De Bruyne in the midfield to create as much as he creates. He's the best player in the Premier League by far. Like it's just the way it is, and the way that they gel as a team, the way that Pep's got them running, I think it's going to be very difficult for Liverpool to actually beat them. But like we said, Liverpool, it's they can't be on a bad run forever. So maybe a draw is possible. I don't see Liverpool winning it, but I think City have too much firepower. Haaland was rested yesterday. Foden was rested yesterday. So I think they're going to come full, all guns blazing for the weekend.
Is it at Anfield? Is it at the Etihad?
It's at Anfield, as far as I remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
I think
that's also a huge,
because
yeah,
because
a huge
just
factor.
the home crowd saying like, look, this is a big game. Historically, the last few seasons, it's been a big game. City, Liverpool used to be, 6-pointer in terms of the title. So if they can't win it themselves, at least they can affect the title this time around. So I think Anfield will be up for it, and that might inspire Liverpool to have like a free hit, basically. Go for it, and we've been losing points here and there throughout the season, so we expected to lose points against City. So why not go out there and show them that we're still a good team? So it might actually be the perfect fixture for them with the season they're having.
Yeah, I think it could be like a season-defining fixture. It could make or break the season, in my opinion. Like I said, I mentioned the injuries as well. Jason, like from your perspective, how do you think Klopp's going to tackle this game?
It's obviously tough. He's lost form in all of his key areas. So midfield, which is a big part of that Klopp system, that ability to press and ability to lead all of that press almost. Salah not getting much ball, not getting much chances, and if he is, he's not really finishing, he's not looking very confident. And then Alexander-Arnold, a big fulcrum in that attack as well, who's just devoid of confidence, devoid of form. So it is tough.
Injured now as well.
Yeah, injured. And then the one spark that could have helped, Luis Diaz, also now injured. Matip, really good partnership that he has with Virgil. I think Anfield makes it a big factor in that I think the Anfield fans won't give much away. They are going to cheer the team regardless. They've seen it at the lowest of lows before, where they had to line up with like Skirtle in your back line and Vodenen up front and all. So I think they okay. It's not what we used to see Liverpool do, but it was bound to happen, man. You can't play that consistent football where it's 100 miles an hour for 3 to 4 seasons on end, including last season where they played in almost all of the fixtures available to them. Like, it's bound to happen, and in such a short turnaround time again, and it's a very aging squad. So I think it might be a time just to throw in a few youngsters and say, you know what, we have nothing to lose. Let's put a few more youngsters in key areas. Maybe Harvey Elliott needs to play, and he just needs to run for the whole game. Maybe I was going to say Jude Bellingham, but he hasn't signed for them yet.
What about Mbappe?
Yeah, potentially. Maybe swap Mo Salah and then give like 100 mil, and then you can maybe get Kylian Mbappe.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
It's not a bad. It's whether FSG will actually give it up. I very strongly doubt. But yeah, I think Klopp, like we've all been saying, it's now almost, I think it's the 11th game that's actually going to be happening. So go for it now. It's not that they're completely out. A string of good wins gets you back into some sort of a challenge and still secure maybe Champions League. But yeah, it's bound to change. So why not change with the game against the former champions? Like, I don't think any of the players need to be motivated further than what this game gives already. You know,
It's been really difficult though with the way he's tried to tinker the team, and he's tried to change the formation and all of that stuff, and it's kind of working, kind of not working.
Yeah.
Who plays where, and now everybody's injured again, so it's,
Yeah.
it's gonna be
He played a
messy.
4-4-2 over the weekend at one point. I mean, he
Yeah.
had Darwin Núñez and Firmino playing as strikers on top. And I
Yeah.
think that's one of the first times I've seen him play a 4-4-2.
Yeah. But it's down to that lack of midfield quality. Like, I think even one of the biggest things that's not spoken about is also the dip in form with Fabinho, who has been exceptional over the last few years. I would put him in the top 3 holding midfielders in that league, you know, and it's just like he's been off form. And then Henderson, he's been subpar for me for a very long time. But like everybody said, you know, leadership qualities come. But now it's like he's slow to second balls. He's indecisive with his decision making. He's not able to press as high, which means that Liverpool lose a lot in the first phase of that press, because with the front line, teams are able to bypass that. It's not very difficult. Darwin Núñez, as quick as he is, it's easy to just make a little triangle, you know, you go centre back midfield and other midfielder. It's fairly simple, you know. So yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be
I think
interesting.
that's where they lose Mane as well. Like the loss of Mane in the press is a massive problem.
Yeah.
Like,
with that first phase, it comes because most of the time they would win the balls in teams' defensive thirds, and then it's like, then it's cake already. You know, you give it to Salah, give it to Mane, give it to Jota even, and it's just money bags. But now that thing hasn't happened, and yeah, I was watching a bit of that Man City Copenhagen game, and I mean, they took Haaland out, they took Foden out, and it still looked pretty much the same. But the fact that I think neither of them came on. I think it was maybe Bernardo Silva that had only come on, maybe Foden as well, but Haaland rested, wanting to show that, okay, it's not just I've been playing against Southampton, I've been playing against Nottingham Forest, I'm going to play now. I was going to say I played against Man United, but Arsenal lost Man, so I can't criticize that. But yeah, he's now playing against Virgil van Dijk, and I think that'll be a good rivalry, a good matchup, even if they put Konate on Haaland, because Konate seems like he's up for those big challenges, you know, big deals.
Yeah, how are we looking at predictions? I'm gonna start with Wasim. You on the top of my screen.
I think it's going to be a tough one, but I think City will edge it eventually. So I'm going to say 3-1 City.
Riyaz. I think Riyaz froze.
Are we all just having a bad connection there? Is that what it is?
Seems like it.
Before this, I had to rejoin as well. Okay, so if I'm gonna jump in Riyaz's space, then I think, yeah, I do like the sound of 3-1 actually with him. I'm gonna agree with that one. I think with City's current form and Liverpool's current form, it might be a bit of a push for Liverpool to actually compete for the full game. They'd be bits, but yeah, I think City takes this one, man.
I'm going for.
As soon as Nikita watches this, she's going to be shaking her head and believing that Liverpool's going to. Yeah. Anyway,
I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
Okay.
I just think that Anfield crowd is going to play like a huge factor in the game, and I feel like if they're going to be down, they're going to manage to equalize sometime at the end. But I think it's going to be an entertaining encounter, or I'm hoping it will be. Flipping over to our fixture, Wasim. Newcastle's on quite a good run. It's the reason why he's smiling so much. But yeah, it has changed like quite a few things, and yeah, like it's good to see that the team is playing good football, and I just want to know, like from like your thoughts and your opinion of what you think has been done right, and how do you think they go into this game against United?
Yeah, I think confidence is high. Given that the fact that given the fact that with the recent results, we've got the 4-1 against Fulham. Okay, it was against 10 men, and then the 5-1 result against Brentford. So confidence will be very high because scoring goals has been a slight issue because we've had like Callum Wilson injured and we had Isak injured as well for a period of time. So I think that was always the one concern that we had. But the fact that we've been scoring good of late, that's very encouraging. So I think that's working well for the team. And we also now have a few guys coming back from injury, so that boosts the bench, which then pushes the guys that are in the team currently to play better. So what's worked also well for us is the fact that with our style of play currently, we press very hard, and I think that's gotten under team skin basically, because if you look at the goals we scored against Brentford, 2 of them came directly from pressing the goalkeeper and the centre backs. They basically gave the ball away and we scored. So that high press that we have has been working very well. Eddie Howe is very much big on fitness, and I think that fitness now is coming to the fore because we basically pressing non-stop for the full 90 minutes, and if teams don't have a way of working around it, then it makes us very effective. So I think that's going to be a key battle on Sunday, because United are also trying to get to that style of play where they also push pressing high, and everybody's working for the team. So I think that's going to be a very intriguing game, in that both teams are going to try and do the same thing. It's just a matter of who can enforce themselves on the other team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the game, definitely.
And where do you think the game would be won and lost?
I think definitely in the midfield, because with United, when they were playing well, they had Eriksen, playing some wonderful balls through, Bruno Fernandes impacting the game, and then guys like Rashford, Anthony could score goals. And obviously there's Ronaldo now in the team, who came on and scored the winner on the weekend. So they have a lot of attacking-minded players, but if the midfield performs, that can then unleash the attack. So I think the same goes for Newcastle, in that we now have Bruno Guimaraes, who's been playing amazingly, scored 2 goals on the weekend, and it seems, I still pinch myself sometimes just thinking like, how's he playing for us? He should be playing for a top team.
Should have been playing for Arsenal.
Yeah, you guys were interested. I don't know.
Very much.
Wasn't Newcastle? I feel like there was like a verbal agreement or something like that, like 6 months before he joined Newcastle.
I remember looking at YouTube to try and see some clips of him, and then it's those clips of Welcome to Arsenal, because it was like a foregone conclusion that he was going to join them. And I don't know, they probably just had the eye on someone else, or they thought, okay, we'll do it in the summer, but then in the January window already sealed it. So yeah, I think our midfield at the moment has been performing well. Bruno, we've got Joe Linton, who's the muscle, and Willock has actually been coming to the fore as well, the former Arsenal player. So we've got some good options in midfield at the moment, and I think if whoever wins that midfield battle, which I think you guys at home should win, but whoever wins that will then probably go on to win the game. So that's going to be the key area for me.
I said on the last episode, I think it was the last episode, that if we go into that City match, into the City derby, with the midfield of McTominay, Bruno, and Eriksen, then we'll be completely overrun, and that's exactly what happened. Who would have known? Who would have thought that? It was just non-existent.
But I think the fact that happened, it meant that now Casemiro can come into the team, because he didn't want to change a winning team. He tried to be loyal to players who were doing well.
Exactly.
But the fact that result happened, it meant Casemiro can now start, and others can have no complaints. And then Casemiro got man of the match of the weekend. So
I mean, like he like you said, like he got the nod against Everton, but like he started the game quite poorly, and then he grew into it. And I mean, like he created that mistake, but then he recovered with it, and then he created that assist. for Ronaldo's goal, 700th
Yeah.
goal, by the way. Hashtag CR700. Putting it out
I
there.
saw that. I saw that on Twitter. You were big on that. Well done
Yeah.
to the phenomenal achievement. Phenomenal.
Yeah, nah, goat, man, goat. Not going to talk about the other guy. But yeah, back to our midfield. If our midfield is set up good enough, then I think we will be able to do well over the weekend. Personally, I don't think our best midfield is Bruno, Casemiro, and Eriksen. I would think that, I mean, Bruno Fernandes has been poor for the last few weeks now. He's been poor in possession. He's been poor with his passing and stuff. I would think that Casemiro, Fred, and Eriksen would be a better midfield three that would be able to implement what Erik ten Hag is trying to do. Fred just basically, he presses, he runs you over. He's like that, like I don't know how to put it. He's like this wild animal that just like tries to like hack you, and he breaks up plays so well. I think he'll be able to complement that midfield so well, and then Eriksen can have that pretty creative roaming position. And then obviously the front three, I think Anthony Martial's injured again, so it will probably be Rashford, Ronaldo, and Anthony up front. Luke Shaw also had a brilliant game against Everton. I think he surprised me a lot because he hasn't been doing well, and then Tyrell Malacia, he started the season off well. Probably gave Luke Shaw the kick up the backside that he needed. And yeah, he's done well now. So I think that will be the only change in defense. And yeah, I think that's our team that will be set up. I don't think Fred starts. I think it will be Eriksen and Bruno and Casemiro. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. The game will be won and lost in midfield. United will try to play off the last defender again. They'll probably try to use Rashford in that way, seeing that he's been running at defenders and using his space more and more this season. And I think that's Erik ten Hag thing. He's used players previously in that manner so many times. And I think he identified Rashford and Martial as that type of players. Just unfortunate that Martial can't partake at the moment. But yeah, it's going to be a tasty encounter, and I'm super excited for it. Jason, anything you have to add?
No, man, we're obviously going to circle back a bit to Newcastle. I think there was some good reinforcements in key areas. And yeah, I'd watched that highlights, and literally, besides the fact that everybody's so excited to now go back to St. James, to actually be a part of the crowd now, it seems like that type. Even away from home, there's a new sense of almost belief. They're more resolute, be it at home, be it away. So it's definitely gonna be an interesting game. And we had mentioned that we thought on the United side that Casemiro should start. I mean, everybody's been doing bad, and when you give him a few minutes, then he's bad. But give him the full game, and I think we had seen that link up, dispossessing will be playing a pass, which it seems like a routine pass, but to actually make that dispossession first and then play it, that's something
immediately
that
afterwards. Yeah,
that's something that's maybe been lacking from Man United's play. And I think at this moment in time, while you're still trying to set up your style of actually controlling possession, you actually just need somebody who can break down and play. And with your front line that's so quick, Anthony, Ronaldo still has a very decent pace on him. Rashford, that's now seemingly come back into form just before World Cup. I think it's definitely going to give something for Newcastle to think about. Any loss of possession could result in a very quick turnover and a quick counter-attack, which I think at home now, I think Man United could do very well. So yeah, it's very interesting. I'm obviously not going to watch the game at the same time as Arsenal. So yeah, which is a bit, I'm quite upset about that, because I think there's 4 games at like 3 o'clock, and then the one game at like 7 or 5 or something like that. So yeah, the scheduling is so bad, and it's such juicy games. Like even to watch
I would definitely
Chelsea under Graham Potter would be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice to watch those games, especially now my fellow top 6 teams, to watch them. So,
this guy.
I had to throw it in there. I don't know how long we're going to stay in the top 6 for this season at least. So, I had to throw it in there at least.
Yeah, but it's definitely going to be a very good game, and I think Man United's at home this weekend as well for
Yeah.
I mean this week for Europa, right? So
Yes, so.
they had played away last week, played home. So it's not like a massive distance you have to travel and come back. It should.
Yeah.
It's still a short turnaround time, Thursday to Sunday, but it might be a bit easier being that they're going to be staying in the UK. So, yeah, man, it's setting up to a good weekend as well. I mean, it's also Classico. I think the Classico's on Saturday as well, or Sunday. So it's like lots of good games, even outside the
Yeah.
Premier League.
How are we looking at predictions for the United Newcastle game? Wasim?
So I think we've had some very good games in the last few years. Even last year, for example, we lost 4-1, but I think after 70 minutes it was 2-1 still, and we really gave you guys a good game. But I think eventually, with our record at Old Trafford, we've only won one game in the Premier League era. So I think, given our record, I think we will lose again. But I'll go say 3-2 to Man United. I think it will be an entertaining game, regardless of the outcome of whoever wins. Basically, I think it will be entertaining.
Jason?
No, fair enough. I think it might be a bit less than that. I'm thinking more of a 2-1 Man United. It's not that. I think Newcastle are pretty strong at the back now. At this current moment, I think Eddie has got them really well drilled. What do you guys normally play at the back? We seem 5. Do you go 5?
No, we go 4-4-2 or 4-3-3.
4-4-2. Okay.
Dan Burn counts as 2 people.
Nah, fair.
Yeah,
fair. That's why. That's literally why I was thinking 5 at the back, because if you're half Dan Burn, you've got 2 decently sized centre backs. So yeah, I'm thinking 2-1. I think Man United at this moment in time, the goals aren't coming just yet, but they should be strong enough to actually get that win. So I'm gonna go 2-1 again.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a 2-1 as well. It's going to be squeaky bum time at the end for United, just like it was against Everton. Yeah, that last 15 minutes, I couldn't deal.
Pickford almost getting the winners and just corner after corner.
What the hell was happening there? Yeah, I think I would have lost it if Pickford had to go and score the equalizer at the end. I think all people. But I see Riyaz made a comeback just in time for his prediction. For
just to say goodbye.
United versus Newcastle prediction, just before we head off.
United versus Newcastle prediction, Newcastle 2-1.
Nice.
I love some spice to the pot.
Yeah.
I love it. All of us said Man United win, so you are going against.
Not even Wasim. Not even Wasim predicted a Newcastle win.
I'm trying to tempt fate by saying that we won't win, but
reverse psychology.
I'm glad Riyaz actually believes in us. So
I'm gonna have faith. I think Newcastle have been excellent this season.
I'll owe you something if they win.
Okay, we all heard that, guys. All the listeners, all the viewers, we all heard that. So we are all going to hold Wasim to that if that does happen. But that is a wrap on today's episode of 343. Just a reminder once again, if you are joining us for the first time, then follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at Sportycast and give this video a like and a share. Please hit the subscribe button at the bottom. Thanks Riyaz, Jason, and Wasim for joining. Great as always. And I'm AF4343, and I'll catch you guys next time.